Good afternoon and welcome back to Plannercraft. I'm Natalie and today we're going to do something we haven't done in ages, and that's the Your Votes Count, which is where you get to choose what I'm going to do today. So I'm just going to wait for a few more people to join us before I do the first vote so that we get the maximum amount of input possible. So your votes really do count for this one, so we don't try and force it, do we, sweetie? Ian's here too. He's been very quiet today. Don't know why. If he's not careful, I'll put the camera on him instead. So, you probably noticed that we've got a couple of different shots going on, and I thought I might not like a change of scenery. I don't think it needs it though, does it? So, do say hi and let me know that you're watching. And the first vote is going to be which page. So I'm working in a mixed media journal that has lots of different materials in that we can put our artwork onto. So, we start off with a craft page. So this is number 1. Then we've got craft and fabric, and this is quite a close weave fabric. So that's number 2. Then we've got the close weave fabric with the back of cardboard. So that's number 3. Then on 4 we have the bumpy side of cardboard and a really loose weave fabric. So you can see my hand through that there. On 5 we have 2 different types of quite open weave fabric, which could be interesting to work with. And on 6 we have the cream open weave with a watercolor paper. So those are your ones to choose from. So you've got 1 to 6. So just pop in the comments a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5 or a 6. So that's number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and number 6. And is our chat not working today?
I don't know.
Something isn't working, is it?
I'll grab my phone and see if it's...
Something is not right. Should we stop it and go back again? If you can see me, please let us know, because at the moment we don't know whether we're actually working or not.
It says you've got 2 viewers, but...
Yeah, but there's no hellos or anything. Bum, bum.
I can see you.
Okay. Next question is, can you hear me? Just check on the thingy. On the ear. Okay, you can do it that way. Okay. It's obviously not sending out notifications, which is a little bit annoying. Just a tidge. Hello, honey.
I thought I'd try it and see if it was...
Yeah, if it was coming through.
Yeah.
Seems a bit weird. Anyway. So, your votes count is where you basically get to choose what I'm going to do. Hi, Linda! We're starting to wonder whether we're talking to ourselves, because the viewer count is, like, silly, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So, your votes count. So you've got 6 substrates to choose from. So we've got 1, 2, which is the close free fabric. 3, which is the back of cardboard and close free fabric. 4, which is the wobbly bit of cardboard and the open weave. 5 is the 2 sets of open weave, or 6 is the open weave and the watercolor paper. So place your votes. All you need to do is pop either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 in the comments and hopefully it will come through. So we can't do polls like we used to do polls for doing this, but it's been a bit of a weird one today, hasn't it? Because it's been very hard getting my mojo going for the streaming today. Mainly because I've got involved with a little bit of a project. So if you saw the magazine review go up on the blog yesterday, I've been doing a project that's kind of tied into that. And I look forward to sharing with you soon. And Linda says number 3. Okay. So that is the close weave in the back of cardboard. Just give it a few moments in case anybody else wants to vote. Hello Carol, that's okay. I might change the times because I don't think 4 o'clock's working for me, let alone anybody else. Because I'm starting to float by 4. Okay. So I'm going to go with number 3 just because time and we want to get on. So I've got a few stencils here and we can work with those into our journal. So next question that usually gets popped up at this point is colour. So light, bright, dark or muted is the question. And while you're doing that, I'm going to carry on, just do a little bit of stenciling. Can you pass me the white gesso down from up there, sweetie?
Oh, it's not so good for me, so I'm cooking this evening.
Yeah, I think it's going to have to change. As much as I would like it to work at this point, it's just not going to happen. So I'm going to get some white gesso, and I don't want to have too much on my brush, so I'm going to scrape some of that off so we're keeping our brush as dry as possible, and I'm going to go straight over my stencil. I'm going to change direction so that we try and get as much of that pattern as we can. And by doing this, we're going to get a nice soft edge to the areas that we do stencil. Okay. And I'm going to do the same over on my fabric. So even though the fabric is light coloured, I'm still going to go over it with a white gesso. And that's going to help the colours kind of pop where we have our gesso. And I'm going to be working with some distressed oxides, I think, on this one. So the colour choices are bright, light, dark or muted.
And this is muted.
Muted, okay. Okay. And lastly, just going to do a bit of a clean up just over here. You can tell a lot going overly careful for that bit. It's just getting the excess off. So you can see we've got like a more muted section of gesso down here, whereas we've got the thicker application up here, and kind of somewhere in the middle on our craft card. So with that done, I'm going to pop the lid back on my gesso. And okay. Okay, that should be enough. So basically you're just looking to make sure that it has a nice matte finish, and then you should be good to go, even if it's a little thicker in some places. So, muted colours it is. Let's go for Victorian Velvet, and that'd be a nice muted shade to get us started with a little bit of colour. And let's pull out a different stencil. So let's go for something that's got a little bit of detail to it, just because our base stencil is quite far apart in terms of where your spaces are. We want to go for something that's going to be contrasting to that. And let's get a pink blending brush. So I'm going to go partly over where I've gessoed and partly over the craft, so that you can see the difference that the two make. Okay, that's quite soft and subtle, so if I bring that up, hopefully you can start to see the colour. But then when we get some water on it in a minute, you'll probably find that that starts to show a little bit more. Same over here. And there we go. You can see, because we've got that white underneath and then the gesso on top, you're going to get a much stronger show of that colour through. And I think I'm going to try and pull out some of this edge detail just up in this top corner. And don't really want to do the same down here because we've got this pattern here. So when we do start to get that kind of pop through, you don't want it to be conflicting with another and repeat the same design. So I'm just going to do some down here. Okay. Put your lid back on your ink pad. Important if you're going to start having water around with your oxides, to make sure that you don't get your pad wet. I'm going to spray a little bit of water into the palm of my hand and just clap it over the top. And then grab a tissue and we can blot that off. Now if you don't get your spatters in the right places, which at the end of the day is random, then we can always go over and do that same action again. Or if you don't like getting your hands wet, we can use what's on our actual pump to just sprinkle over the top. Okay. This is doing a really good job today of managing to avoid the ink.
Mummy says hi.
Hi, Mum. Okay, so with that done, let's pull in another stencil just to get in a few extra dots. And this time I'm going to go for purple, you think?
I don't know.
Shall we?
I think I know above.
Muted. What, that one? That one? Okay. This is Ian's choice. Let's get a full blending brush. Just realised I haven't muted. And this stencil is one that I've cut myself, so you can do something similar on your scanning cut. And now you can see, even though I'm just stenciling over the top of that ink, it's still pulling that pattern back through, which is really weird. So where the ink has already gone down, it's going to overlay over the top and make that darker. So, shall I make use of the close-up pen? So let's get that a little bit closer. You can see the lines are where the masking was before from our stencil, and then where you've gone over the top with the purple, it kind of intensifies where it touches the pink. So there you go. And pop back to the view. There we go. So as usual, where we've done something in one place, we want to make sure that we go and do it in another location in our layout. So I'm just going to use what's left on my brush. Like so. Okay, so far so good. So there's our background. Now we need to actually put something on top. So would you like to see, we could do some figures using the Jane Davenport stamps. We could do some texture stamps, which are from Chocolate Rock. So those are your two options. We'll just do those two for today. Carol, you can't say that about yourself. We've all seen your work, so you can't say that you're no good. We won't believe you. Okay, figures it is then. So, we have, in which camera should I go to? That one, that one, that one.
There's one if you want. There's the...
This one. There we go. So we have these ones here that are a bit smaller scale, because obviously our journal's only about
6x6, isn't it?
Is it 6x6? Yeah, it's about 6x6, maybe just shy of it. There. Yep, 6x6. Good way of trying to measure that. So I'm going to go for, I could go for one I was colouring earlier, but let's have a change.
Don't change camera there.
Yes, please. Okay. So I'm going to use a flexible block, and I'm going to go archival and decisions, which colour? I'm going to go with brown. Stick with the brown. Because we were going on to craft card anyway, brown kind of makes sense. So archival ink is good for if you want to keep your line work nice and clear for doing things like watercolour. But also if you're going to get really messy with acrylic, you could go archival. And I'm going to pop that right there. Now a lot of these stamps have like an open end, so you can extend it as much or as little as you need to, so you could just as easily be stamping it up here. And for some reason today my stamping is a bit pale, so let's see if I can get onto the camera for you so you just see that a little bit better. Okay, so let's think. We've got Victorian Velvet and Vern's Potion so far, so if I pull out Vern's Potion starters, and this is the distressed paint, so give it a good shake. I'm just going to put a little bit onto my glass mat. So if you have a palette pad, you could use that, or if you have more like a traditional acrylic palette, one of the stay wet ones, you could use that too. And I'm just going to grab a paintbrush and off we go. So with the figures, you can either do them literally as they are in the stamp, or you can put your own spin on it, because it's quite easy to just go over the top and adjust your line work. So I'm going to put her in a little summery dress, I think, little strappy number.
That says it's a bit like a stained glass window.
That would be quite cool. I think Linda's working on a stained glass window effect, aren't you? With some backgrounds that are coming on very soon. Okay, there's the top of our dress. And one of the things I was doing in my other project was I was actually playing with using water as a shading tool. So, in other words, where our colour's darkest is where we want to have the most pigment. In most cases, but sometimes, depending on the colour of the paint that you're using, where you have more water actually looks darker. So that's going to be if you're using like a lighter coloured paint. So I was working with Salvage Patina. There we go. Whereas when it's a darker colour, it's going to have the opposite effect. So more water is going to give you a lighter colour, even on the craft. Okay, so I'm going to go dark colour down this outside edge. And I can take that right the way down. So on Friday we're looking at doing a bit of computer work, and I want to show you a few tricks we can do with text. So for this next bit I'm going to pull out some kits from Lingo, just because I don't have the Victorian Velvet in the paint. going to follow that line work very roughly. But this time you can start to see what I mean about as the amount of paint in the brush decreases and the amount of water takes over, our colour's going to get darker. Rather than lighter. So you want to concentrate your paint on your lightest areas. So whereas this side's dark here, we want our light on this way. So we're going to start by putting most of our paint on this edge here. And if you need to do 2 or 3 coats, that's fine. And even if you end up blocking out all that other line work underneath, it's not that you're doing anything wrong. So now as it comes round this curve here, I'm just so you get more water in that. Just need a little bit of paint, tiny touch of paint down there and in there. And I'm going to come back. I'm going to shape my brush on the glass mat, so I'm rotating my brush so that it's getting a nice point. And then we can follow the ghost of our lines, like so. So that we start to get some of the lines showing, but not all. I'm going to do the same on our light bit too. So the more layers of paint we do, the more opaque it's going to get. And therefore brighter when it comes to these lighter colours. Think about how that fabric would fold, how it's going to catch the light. And at the end of the day, if you don't like something, you can always go back and paint over it. So don't beat yourself up too much. Yep, gesso is a girl's best friend. Not diamonds. There we go. Got little dots around her waistline, kind of indicates some little bits of ruffles. And a bit more on this top section here.
Because of where the diamond is, it looks like a girl with her head bowed praying.
Because of where the diamond
Just above her head, look.
is.
Other side.
Other side? That side?
Yeah, the white diamond right at the top.
That one?
Yeah.
Her actual head's right there. Which is weird. It's going to do just a bit of backlighting down this outside edge here. Kind of gives you kind of an extent of where her figure is.
pink one. They're all pink, Carol.
Carol, we were perfectly fine saying no, they're not. The other one's purple. There we go. So I'm going to go pick up a little bit of this purple and tiny bit of the pink too. Maybe a little bit more. So your darker colours are always going to be much more powerful. There we go. And I'm going to map out her hat here. It could be a halo, but let's get more.
No need to apologise, Carol.
Right around, like so. So there's roughly where her hat is. I'm going to take a little bit of that purple, the dark purple, and just pop that right at the back and right at the back here. That's going to give us the impression that our hat is actually going around the head rather than just kind of plunked there. Let's just clean my brush out a bit. Just going to blot that onto some kitchen towel so it's not too wet that it's going to blob everywhere. And just blend that back up through just to smooth out any edges. You should have something that looks a little bit like that. So I'm going to use the pink on the other hat because they've obviously colour coordinated their outfits. Now, a bit more paint in the mix as we come towards the front so that it's lighter and let it blend back to that kind of really soft translucent colour when we get back to the bottom. And blend that
Really
side.
says that I can share the picture with the group, so watch this space. Cool, just keep an eye out for that, Carol. I'm sure it'll be fabulous.
Yep, and I'm sure we're definitely not going to say what you thought we said. Saying that no good, honestly. Let's just put a little bit in there extra.
My phone's having to slide down the paper over here.
Is it being suicidal again?
Yeah.
It always wants to fall off, doesn't it? Doesn't matter where you put it. Must just be something about that particular.
So it's got the glass back on it.
Slide. There we go. So, now that we've got our kind of outfit roughed in, I'm just going to pick out a few of the details. So there's a little knot just here. So let's get some of that pink. I'm going to put the pink in there as a kind of base to start building up. I'm just going to dot in a little bit of purple, like so, and that'll do. And do a little bit of a backgrounds are quite a important thing to do in our work. It can be very tempting to concentrate so much on the portrait and then leave it on a white background, but it's often the backgrounds that actually make it. Okay, so with that done like that, I think, could you pass me in the JD paint that's right there? I can see it. The big one. Yeah. There we go. Just because I know I don't have a distress paint that's this kind of colour. Even with saltwater taffy. Oh, I think I might have a clogged end. There we go. I can probably use some saltwater taffy to shade with it, but with actual skin tone. Let's go for that. And I'm just gonna, on this side, just gonna work out roughly where I want to put the eyes, because you don't want to put your skin colour over where your eyes are. This is going to look a bit weird to start with. So what I would say is, don't panic, don't give up, don't think, oh, I've ruined it. Just keep going at it, because the thing about, particularly with the Jane Davenport paints, is layers, layers and more layers. And as you do, they kind of start to blend a bit better, and I'm going to take the skin colour up past the hairline. So you want to paint your faces first and do your hair second. Okay. So what time would you like to see me go live, guys, if I can't do 11?
Can't do 11, can't do 4 o'clock.
Yeah. Yeah, 11's a bit of a pain, isn't it? Because it's typically when delivery people call. So you can guarantee if we have something coming, you know when it's going to turn up. And it will wait until we're live as well. So even if I don't stream every day, it will wait until I'm live.
It tends to be when I'm not here as well, doesn't it? So
Yeah, so. So with these lighter sections, what you can do is actually apply a layer of gesso underneath to help kind of make this little bit of process a little bit quicker in terms of building up the colour. So on the stump she's wearing a necklace, so I'm just going to go around most of it, but the actual pendant one can go straight over the top. Because we can always add that in pen later.
Yay!
What's that?
Both the foil shield packages arrived this afternoon.
Yay! After we were a little bit dense at the weekend, weren't we? Just a tidge.
And Gareth said maybe 6 or 7 if that's not too late for a good one.
What do you think, Ian? Because you get deciding vote on that one. You don't know?
Depends if you've got a better audience, isn't it? Because,
Yeah. We'll try that then. So do spread the word then, and we'll go for, should we say 6?
yeah, 6
Or do I
7.
7? Should we try 7? Because that means that even if you're late, we should still have had time to eat. Yeah, so we'll say 7. So Friday, spread the word, 7 o'clock. And we'll go from there.
In the morning.
In the morning? I said, I don't think so. Right, let's put a bit more colour on this one now that it's started to dry. So drying is an important part of the process. So you'll find that as these paints kind of sink in, there's going to be bits that you just want to make pop out a little bit more. It's always interesting when you're working on craft or cardboard, in that the colours and the inks do react differently to different types of cardboard. So for instance, the oxides, which I was trying to get it to kind of show you earlier, kind of almost go luminous when they get wet. So if I hide it silently, then Ben will be ever so pleased. Oh dear. Yeah, he bribed me, honest. He said, I'm missing that Carol, come on, I want her back. Give me the answers. Tipping point. Ian's giving me that look of, what are you going on about? So I'm just going to pop a little bit more of that colour around where this light would kind of catch. A little bit down the nose, across the forehead, tops of the cheeks. Okay. So, salt water taffy just because. And you'll be pleased to know that on glass it's actually quite easy to clean these off. So, just going to mix that with the flesh paint that's already on my brush, so it's a little bit softer. And we're going to take that across the tops of the eyes.
Cheese.
Under the nose.
So you've got your eyes across the teeth, haven't you?
Around the hairline. reason that we do it around the hairline is that we want to give the impression that the face is not just flat. You know, it is a rounded object. So just blend that in. And when you've got that first bit kind of coloured, we can go a little bit stronger and a little bit stronger. Put a little bit of pink just on the tops of the shoulders. Been out in the sun too long. Okay. So now I'm going to go slightly stronger still. So again, across the tops of the eyes. Tiny touch on the nose. Try not to let it blob too much. Bit on the mouth. And again, I'm just going to pop a little bit more around the hairline on this one here, and on this one. So then we put our hair over the top. We've already kind of created the shadow for it without having to worry about keeping that hairline nice and clean. Just going to pop a bit on the neck there. And a bit under the jaw too. So we're pushing that neck into the distance by comparison to the face. Like so. So hopefully you can start to see where that's heading. So now you kind of need to make a decision when it comes to hair colour. You can either try and match it into the colours so that you can have two purple haired ladies, for instance, or you can go, actually it's a blonde and a brunette. You can get away with both. So I think I'm going to go back into my skin tone actually, and very lightly just give a little bit of a base. And let that dry. I'm going to do the same on this one. So this is where you want to just literally keep that on the hairline. You don't want to go over the top if you can help it. Then watercolor pencils. I'm going to take those.
Caroline, look, the girl with purple hair.
Cool. And you're going to apply your watercolor pencils to the darkest parts of your hair. Now these ones are Academy ones by Derwent. Well, these are a portrait set. So it's quite a good way of being able to quickly grab the right colour. So I'm going to go for that one like that. And let's clean out my brush.
And 10 minutes left.
10 minutes. Oh. That went quick, didn't it?
What can you do in 10 minutes?
10 minutes is enough just to finish off the hair, because you want to do both. And let's go for dark here. You've got hair up, so you've got a really easy way of just doing the sides, parting, and back down to the other side, and just let the pen kind of do the rest. Like so. I'm going to grab a gel pen and we can do some little dots. So I'm not doing anything particularly complex, just little dots for a necklace, so you're not getting involved with like lots of shading. And let's pull out a fine liner just to finish this off. I'm just going to do the line across the top of the eye and a little dot underneath. Line across the top so that the poor girl has eyebrows. Line across the top of the eye, dot underneath.
Yeah, eyebrows.
And eyebrows. The thinner the pen is, the easier it is to do this bit. But okay. Then I'm nearly done. Nearly there. Let's go for that one. I haven't done any words, which is very unlike me. So I'm just going to do centered line for the mouth. And then just going to do 2 little dots there, 2 little dots there, and you can even do just a little bit of detail for the hair.
Ready for night out. I like them as usual.
There we go. It does need something else, I just haven't decided what yet. So, there we go. Let that focus. Or is that my eyes?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay. Do you want to just hop it onto the other one? Just in case we can get a slightly close the shot. Focus. There we go. You wouldn't think it's the same camera, would you? And ta-da! Job done. So of course with the rest of the paint that you have on your palette, if you have a stay wet palette, put the lid on, you can use it another day. If you're working on a glass mat, carry on and do another page, or carry on embellishing the page that you're working on. And that's okay, Linda. So we're going for 7 o'clock on Friday.
Apparently.
Yep, and I'll try that.
Yeah.
You're going to give me a copy beforehand?
Give you a copy.
So, thank you for joining us, and do take care, and I will see you Friday. And it's bye bye from me, it's bye bye from him, and it's bye bye from the girls.